Previously, I created a demo form, and now that we have that created, how do we get that into your WordPress site? Now, before you jump into this video tutorial, you need to have reviewed the previous tutorial where I actually showed you how to plug in this one-time snippet into your WordPress site. You need that before you can actually plug in the form itself. So we have the form. Scroll down into the Embed Form into your website section. We have a number of different options, different ways that you can enter the information, different ways that you can activate the form from the site. So what I've done is I've created a page already on my site, and this tutorial will focus on the Gutenberg editor. That's the block editor in WordPress. So I won't be using my theme editor. I'll be staying basic, so most everyone should be able to follow along with that. Not the classic editor, the Gutenberg editor. So here's what I'll be going over. I'll show you how to insert the JavaScript snippet versus the full HTML code insertion, and then look at how to plug that form in with a button and how to do the same with a link. In a different tutorial, I'll show you the MailerLite plugin. That's a placeholder for now. So how do we do this? First of all, we're going to look at the JavaScript snippet. This is the generic code, so we're going down to the bottom where we have the code specific snippet. So copy to clipboard. So you have the code. I'm going to update that page. So I'm on Pages in my WordPress editor. I'm going to edit the Gutenberg demo page. That's what I showed you on this other browser screen. So I'm in the block editor for Gutenberg. I took that first copy from the JavaScript snippet section. This is the information at the bottom. I'm going to plug that in using shortcode. So everything that you want to use from MailerLite, every code snippet, if you're using Gutenberg, use the shortcode block. So up comes a shortcode block, and then where it says write shortcode here, you just paste. That's it. I'm going to do the same thing for different sections. So now here's the full HTML code. Now you might be wondering, why would you ever want to use the full HTML code? Because that's a lot of code. Well, if you want to customize or modify your form even further, then you'd want to use the full code, and then you can have different versions without going back into MailerLite and modifying the form. Some people, there might be a reason they want to do that. I rarely want to do all that work. So I copy the full code. Now I'm just scrolling down to different sections here. I have this little section for the full code. Again, I'm going to insert a block, and I'm going to insert shortcode. Everything is done using the shortcode. Paste all of that. That's a much bigger block. Now we'll scroll down. I have a section here for a button click event. So if I go to show pop-up on click event, there's some code here. Now again, remember, this is the generic one-time code that's already been added to the WordPress site. We want the form-specific code. This is the form-specific code for the button. So, and I know that because it says button versus this one is a link click. So we'll copy the button code. Again, how do I get it into that section? I add a block. You can see it says add block. And what block am I choosing? Shortcode block. And I simply paste it in. One more block, I'm going to do the link as well. Copy to clipboard. Insert a block. Choose the shortcode block. Paste. I'm not going to do the MailerLite plugin here. I'll have a separate tutorial. I'll show you that one. It's all in, so I'm going to update. It's finished updating. I'm going to go over here and refresh. So remember, these were placeholders. I'm going to refresh and see how this looks now. There we are. So just as a reminder, if I go back to MailerLite and preview the form, what did the form look like? So there's our little form. So if we come over here, there's the form. So this was the JavaScript snippet inserted. This was the full-blown HTML inserted. This was through a button click. Now, there's some extra spacing here. That's part of the HTML. We could modify that. Actually, let's just modify that so you can see I'm not fibbing. Go back in here. Is there anything extra? So click here to show pop-up. I'm going to remove that spacing. And I'm going to do the same thing down here because it had the same challenge. And then I'm going to update again. Now I'll refresh my site so you can see how that looks. All right, so we had the snippet, the full HTML code. Here's our button with no extra spacing above it, and our link with no extra spacing above it. So when we click on the button now, the form pops up. When we click on the link, the form pops up. Excellent. So that's how you insert all the different options in Gutenberg Editor. They're all inserted the same way, all of them using the shortcode block. And this is the way they look, the different perspective you can give your audience. That's it. I'll have another video where I show you the exact same concept, but using elegant themes and the Divi Builder.